Hi, welcome back to another episode of the podcast, Nobody's Doing It Right. If you're new here, if you've always been here, great. Hi, welcome. For today's episode, I want to talk about creativity and art because I do that a lot and most of my work is creative. And I think it applies, all these topics kind of work together. It can apply to personal development. It can apply to just creativity and art, depending on where you are in your life, your journey, whatever. I think all of these are they all intertwine in a sense. One of the biggest lessons I've learned throughout my creative journey, and I've heard a lot repeated through other artists, creatives, online, is that you can't look at your work as being too precious. You can't be too precious about your work, because that is what creates the perfectionism and need for control that then prevents you from expanding, from doing more, from continuing on, from improving. And this has been obviously a very difficult lesson for me, but the moment I really accepted it and internalized it and implemented it, things shifted and things started to take off. And so I wanted to talk about this because I think, again, it doesn't just apply to art or creativity. I am looking at it from that angle, but it can also apply to personal development, to not be too precious about your sense of self, to not be too precious about what you do and who you are and where you are in your life. It's about recognizing that, okay, yeah, I did something or I'm trying something, whatever. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't have to be too precious about it. It's not precious. Whatever the thing is that you're thinking about or you're acting on or whatever, because tomorrow is another day and you'll have to do it again in a different way over and over again. So when it comes to creative work or art in general, it's about continuing the process. Another day, another piece, over and over and over again. And that is really difficult to be comfortable doing all the time because it feels daunting. It feels never ending. It's exhausting, but that's the point. As I've said before in my other content, the practice is the point. It's about doing it over and over and over again and not being too precious about what you do, because you're going to have to do it again tomorrow and you're going to make another piece and a piece after that. And that is what I've been practicing for the last couple of years. And it's made an enormous difference in how I see my work, myself, and allowed me to actually make things that then impact more people or have more of an impact than I thought they would. So as an example, I write a lot. I write over on my Substack all the time. I'm constantly writing on there. I post a lot on Instagram. I post on TikTok. I post this podcast. Like, I'm always doing something. I'm always creating something. I enjoy it. And oftentimes for a lot of my journey, especially early on starting it, I felt like nothing was going to really hit or blow up or go viral or whatever. I still did it. It's just an enjoyment thing for me. But, of course, any artist, any creative wants that. I never thought it would happen. And so when things started to do that, when things started to take off in some way, it wasn't like enormous, but like a video blows up, Instagram blows up, a post blows up, a podcast episode does well, like whatever. In my mind, a lot of the time, the kind of default narrative is that, oh, this isn't going to happen again, or this is the only thing that's going to do well because maybe things haven't gone viral so far or haven't blown up this far. And so this must be the only thing. And I have to really milk this thing. And I can't maybe shift out of whatever perspective, mindset, whatever that helped me create this thing. I have to stay here, being too precious about this piece, showing it more often or not wanting to change whatever method I use to make it. And I really had to accept and recognize that the fact that happened, that something did have a positive impact, it did well, is a sign that this isn't the only thing that's going to do well. Even though it feels in the moment like the scarcity mindset kicks in, at least for me, and I'm sure others relate to this. The scarcity mindset kicks in of like, oh, this must be the only thing then. This must be my greatest piece or achievement or whatever, because, you haven't experienced it up until now. But the fact that it's happened means that you can experience it again because it's happened once, which means it can happen again. But the key here is to recognize that the only way it can happen again is if you aren't too precious about this piece. You don't see it as anything more special than any other thing that you're creating, and to do it again make a new one over and over and over again to show yourself that it's possible. And so in my journey with my work, in all, different mediums that I've worked in, I've gotten to that point, that kind of brink where something has done well, and I'm like, okay, this is it. And okay, this is the one thing that's done well. I've hit some sort of jackpot with this. I've really tapped into something with this. I've really had to, sometimes consciously, but mostly unconsciously, I've recognized and pushed myself to continue on, mostly because I enjoy it, right? So it's kind of almost organic to do it. But with doing that, it forced me then to continue creating, which then showed me that other things actually do really well as well. Like a lot of what I'm creating has now taken off in different ways, different things. Had I stayed stuck in the mindset that this one piece, this one post, this one whatever was the only one that was going to do well, and I didn't want to taint it by making more, or I didn't want to shift away from this because it was doing so well, I should promote this more or whatever, I wouldn't have created the next piece that did well, that did better than the piece before that. And it's hard to believe it when you're not there yet, but when you pass that point and you look back, you're like, oh yeah, that the practice is the point, because that is where the success is. Whether it's actual success, like something does really, really well, or it's the fact that you're just in practice, you're growing, you're improving, you're changing. That's the point of it. It's right there. And so you can't be too precious about it, because it's not precious. It's not special. And I mean that in the most liberating way possible, because the next one after that might be even better. And it will be, undeniably, because you're doing it again and you're practicing and you're improving and you're growing. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And like I said earlier, this also applies to personal development as a whole, because who you were yesterday, the day before that, whatever, is not who you are now. You are different now. You have changed. Every day you change in some way, in some capacity. And if you're putting in the work and you're trying to be mindful and self-aware and all those things, every day you're getting better at it, because it is a practice, right? It's a type of skill to be able to do that, to recognize certain patterns, behaviors, things you don't like, and actively try to change them or shift or improve or whatever. And so you're getting better at it because it is a skill that you're practicing. So if you're too precious about the way you show up and you think, okay, I can't get better than this, not to say that the journey is about being the best version of yourself, to be always better. It just means that, say you change a certain mindset and you notice that shift within yourself and you go, oh, wow, okay, I am not in this scarcity mindset anymore, or whatever, put whatever in that relates to you and your experience. But like, I'm not in this mindset anymore. Oh my gosh, I did it. Like, okay, I got to sustain this now. I can't do anything different that'll then risk me getting back into a scarcity mindset. Like, that's not the point of the process. The point is to do something else, because now that you've already achieved that point, right? You've gone past that point of your scarcity mindset, again, as an example. That means the next thing you do, even if it does risk, tapping into that scarcity again, you'll know how to handle it better because you've already pushed past the threshold previously. So you've already learned new skills, new abilities. You see the world differently because you've gone to that point. So the next time it happens, you'll be even better at handling it. You'll realize something new about it, a new angle, a new perspective. And that'll only refine your ability to handle these things, refine your sense of self, who you are, what you want. So it's really not about being precious about any part of your existence even. Not to say that your life, your artistic work, whatever, isn't important and valid and should be seen as special in some capacity. But just as special as you see it, it's also not that special. And that's a good thing. It's not even like a bad thing to see it that way. It's not about just negating your skill, your ability, or putting yourself down in some way because you don't feel good enough. It's not about low self-worth and, perpetuating that. It's just about seeing that it's not that big of a deal, because the next thing you do is probably going to be even better. And to get better, you have to continue pushing through and doing something new, and not seeing the last thing as that important or that precious or that special, because everything you do kind of will be special in its own way, whether or not you get the external feedback, right? Like, you might do something different, make a new post, create a new piece, whatever, and it doesn't do as well as the last one. But like, that's not the point always. The point is that you've experienced that, you've done something there, you've learned something from that experience, and it'll help carry you through to the next one and the one after that. So even if it doesn't have like external outcomes that you're expecting, it has internal ones, inevitably. And so the point is just to continue on and not to even take that too seriously, right? Let's say the next post you make, whatever, doesn't do as well as the last one. don't even take that too seriously. Like, it's not that big of a deal because the one before that did well. So if that did well, then there's a chance that the next one after this might do well. It's always shifting. So it's like two sides of the same coin. If there's a good outcome or there's a bad, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, it's going to shift. It's going to morph. It'll be good one day, it'll be bad another day, and none of it really matters because it's always going to change. It's always going to be up and down. It's always going to fluctuate because that's life. That's the human experience. It's about detaching yourself from all of that, which obviously much easier said than done, of course. And it's even hard for me still. But again, it's using these examples to remind yourself that, okay, it's really not that precious. It's not that special in the best way possible, because if this happened one time, it'll happen again, and vice versa. So the tides are always changing. It's never going to be the same. It's not going to be stagnant. And to not attach yourself too much to the good, just as much as you don't want to attach yourself to the bad, because it will inevitably change. It will flip upside down at some point. One day you'll have a post that goes viral. The next day you'll have one that flops. And the day after that you'll have one that goes viral maybe. It'll just be back and forth like that. And that's the process of life. And the only point to all of it is to continue doing the thing that you want to do and you know you're being called to do, that feels most aligned with you. That is the point. And inevitably, by doing that, you're going to learn, you're going to grow, you're going to improve, you're going to find more alignment naturally, organically. And that is ultimately the point. It's not about virality. It's not about success. It kind of will come in its own way to you, the way it needs to. And you don't really have to do anything more than that. You don't have to see something as super precious or special or latch onto it or feel like there's scarcity around it, because it'll happen as it needs to. You really don't have more control other than just showing up over and over again, the next day, making another thing, doing another thing, trying something different, being a different version of yourself, whatever you need to do. And that's the point, ultimately. So while I started this off talking about creativity and art, which is very important if you are someone who does creative work, don't be too precious about it. It also applies to your personal development. Don't be too precious about yourself even at times, Yeah, take care of yourself, be mindful of who you are, what you want to do, who you want to be, stay in alignment with your values and morals, but don't be too precious about the success you see in yourself in the way you're changing and shifting, because one day will be a good day, the next day might be a bad day, and it's okay, because it will change again. That's life. And so the point is just to continue pushing forward, doing the things that you know are most aligned with you. Even if you have a bad day, tomorrow might be a better day. The day after that might be a bad day again. The point is, every time you try, you show up, you practice, you get better. Like, there is no other way around it. It will happen. You will improve in some capacity, whatever improvement means to you. It's not about being the best, and it's not about this kind of external idea of what best or better is. It's about what it means to you. That will happen. The more you do it, the more you show up. It's almost unavoidable, because how could you not get better and improve and be able to show up in new ways, create new things that are just as, important and impactful as other things that you've created in the past? Like, of course you will. There's no way to avoid that, in a sense. It's unavoidable. So all you really have to do is just show up and not see things as too precious. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it gave you some perspective on your creative journey, on your personal development journey, whatever it might be for you. And it inspired you and encouraged you to just keep doing, just keep showing up, keep doing what you need to do, what you know is most aligned with you. If you want to read about topics like these, follow me over on Substack. I write a lot of essays about these topics in more depth. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram if you want to see my short form content, my video content. And also, if you want to talk with me one-to-one about these things, feel free to book a call over on my website. As I always say, I'm not a therapist. I'm not an expert. I just love talking about these things. And I'm always working through them in my own journey. So if you want to pick my brain a bit, ask me for my insights on them, feel free to book a call over on my website. Other than that, thank you for being here, and I'll be back again soon with another episode.